Howdy y'all, Cinder Fates here. I'm going to be doing a commentated run of Scooby-Doo Unmasked all levels. This is personally my favorite category in this game. Very, very cool category that shows off a lot of cool glitches and a lot of cool movement. Give a little bit of background of myself, world record holder of all three categories of Scooby-Doo Unmasked, and I've been speedrunning this game for 5 years. Without further ado, we'll get the run started. We're technically already doing a glitch here by overwriting on a certain save file that we've set up, but without further ado, the run shall start in 3, 2, 1, go. While we wait for these first couple loading screens to happen, to give you the basic plot summary of Scooby-Doo Unmasked is that Fred wants to visit his cousin Jed, very original name, and he works for a company called Monsters, Fright, and Magic, which is a company that makes monsters with the special type of material called mubber. I'll talk a little bit more about what Mubber does for this game, but once this loading screen's over, we'll get to the actual gameplay, which Scooby-Doo Unmasked is a 3D platformer that released on all three consoles, the GameCube, PS2, and the OG Xbox. Right now, we're going to be moving on to Velma, who's going to be the person we're going to be turning into clues, which will unlock certain parts of levels and hub worlds. We need to collect that clue so we can get access to that button. Just gonna go down this spiral ramp down here so we can get to the Mubber slide. I'll yet again explain Mubber later on when it becomes more important. Fred tells us to get on that spring, but we're gonna get onto this movie stand right here and just gain access to the zipline a little bit faster. And the main movement you're gonna be seeing me doing throughout this run is rolling. It's faster than just holding up and sprinting. Also just is a broken move in general. Does a lot of damage to enemies and also has a lot of iframes. We'll be ignoring the combat tutorial by trying to save Velma. We're going to roll up here. And we're going to try to reset our jump on a ledge over here. There we go. And something you're going to be seeing me doing a lot, anytime I ground pound, I'm just going to be wiggling Scooby in the general direction I want him to go. That's going to gain me extra height and distance, but that'll be the end. FMFM. Now we're at Jed's first stop, Chinatown. This is going to be the first world of the game. So we're going to collect the clue so we can gain access to the first level, which is over here, and then we're going to turn it into Velma, because we do need to do that. There we go. Now we have access to Cookie Factory, but we're going to be taking a quite faster route than intended, instead of going all the way around. We'll be doing a trick called Kung Fu Coin Early by refreshing our jump yet again on a ledge. We're able to get up to grabbing this coin, so we don't actually have to do it later on. It also just gives us a faster line to Cookie Factory. So this level automatically starts off with a glitch, so we're going to be setting up as a trick called trampoline storage. If you just walk on, any platform and then you go onto a trampoline, you can actually gain back your double jumps. So that's what we use there, just to skip a bit of platforming. Roll into this corner over here so we can get out of bounds. So just skip all this platforming and head straight to the second part of the Cookie Factory. And the way we're going to get back in bounds is by using this trash can over here. Has very funky ledges, but we got that first try. Now we're actually inside, like, the Cookie Factory. But we'd be skipping a little bit of platforming by curving around here. Ground pounding up here. And you're going to be seeing me spin, then jump. That's going to help me preserve my momentum, especially on these conveyor belts that slow you down. Introduces the Chinese zombie, we're just going to be ignoring him. We're going to be doing another trampoline storage here to skip some more platforming. There we go. I might be a little bit slow on these cycles. This is a very important part of Cookie Factory, is making your cycles. Yeah, I was a bit slow. If I was faster on my cycle, I wouldn't have to avoid those gas. I'm just going to be moving up. I avoid these flour bags. And we're going to be moving on to pretty much the biggest skip for Cookie Factory. We'll be doing another trampoline storage upcoming. We're gonna use it to get on this little platform up here. Then I'm gonna try to do is hopefully you kind of have to time your roll at a specific time. Didn't get it. See if we got it. Bang. Now we went through the floor. We skip all that. Try to grab this ladder. Nice. That ladder can be a little mean. But we're gonna just be heading towards the end of Cookie Factory. Ouch. Right. Grab the dragon scale. That clue is necessary to solve the mystery, but there's no way we can avoid it, so collect it. Now we're going to be heading to sewers. So anytime we do collect the necessary clue to move on to the next level, we'll always spawn at Velma and always get a cutscene afterwards. So I'm simply just going to be spamming here. I also try to jump really fast so I can avoid the dialogue, since sometimes NPC will move up to Velma to speak to her, and we don't want to be involved in that. Since we already got the Kung Fu costume, we don't need to jump up to the forklift and get it. We can just roll over to here, use the machine to gain access to the suit, so we can Kung Fu blast into sewers. And this is where Mubber is actually be important now. So Mubber is a currency that is used to access those machines that can give us costumes. Some machines also give you access to food, but we're only going to be using the ones that give us access to the costumes. Introduced to a new enemy here. Roll into her 2 times. We're going to slam this grate, which will give us Mubber. Break these boxes, and we're going to kill these spiders, and that's going to be all 30 Mubber we need for this level. As we're going to be trying to keep our costume throughout the entirety of this level. So I'm going to try to make it over this ravine. Kind of have to space out your double jump and your dive kick. Anytime you dive kick, you actually regain your double jump after a certain amount of time. We're on a really good cycle for these pillars. It's very clean first room. We're going to be skipping a whole lot of platforming, and we're actually skipping a fight section here. We're going to wait for this pillar to rise. We're going to jump on this pillar in front of us. And we're going to make a cycle with this platform over here. Avoid these UV lights, since yet again that will get rid of our costumes, and we do need this costume to make progress. Jump around to this platform. Dive kick so we can gain extra height. That's another benefit of doing dive kicks. So you'll gain extra height. Just jump on some collision here so we can get on top. Do a Kung Fu blast. And we're going to be moving on to an auto-scroller here. This auto-scroller is technically not an auto-scroller, but it still is an auto-scroller, because there are diverging routes throughout this section. And if you do take the wrong route, you will just go a little bit slower, but we do know the optimal route. Also, we try avoiding any food here. There's 2 foods here. You don't want to do that just because it creates a pop-up. So we'll be going left for the first turn. And obviously we want to avoid any whirlpools and pillars, as they do slow you down a bit. Then we're going to go left again. This shall be our final turn and our final food we have to avoid, which will now go to the right. Alright, we're at the end of this auto-scroller here. We're gonna meet up with Shaggy, which is the whole reason why we even went down these sewers, was to save him. We'll be skipping straight to the end, since the ending is actually right there behind that gate, but we don't gain access to that, obviously. So we're going to jump on this TV, get onto this lamp, try to clip into it. Then if I do my inputs correctly here, nice, I collected the clue while ending the level. That clue is necessary so I can gain access to Temple. You can get into Temple if you do miss that clue, but it does lose a good amount of time. That clue is not necessary to solve the mystery. Temple, my personal favorite level in this run, but a very hard level. We'll be skipping a whole lot of platforming by just rolling down here, as that'll keep our jump. Ooh, I did not grab the ledge there. A little bit unlucky. This game can be a little bit weird where its ledges are. Roll up here to Zen 2-0. Ooh, my jump did not refresh as well. No matter though. Ouch. We are at 1 health, which we'll definitely need to take a backup Scooby snack. Now we're fine. Now we're going to be trying to go for a trick called Waterfall Skip here. We're gonna try to get on top of this monster machine. Skid over here, and that'll get us past the waterfall. You would need to be intended to use this level's main mechanic, which are gongs that will spawn platforms. We would be trying to skip a lot of that here. Do a trick called Immuno-Skip here, to where we're going to do another butt slide up here. Refresh or jump on this platform. I'm going to grab the snack box here, as the strat I am going for requires me to get hit. We are going to have to use these gongs here just so we can use these platforms. Now we're going to be moving on to a fight section here, but there is a way to skip this. Very hard skip. So the first thing we're going to do is do a dive kick in place and hold up, and that will refresh our jump. So we're technically on the tower that we would spawn, so we can make our ascent up to Daphne. But this entire collision is here even without you hitting the gongs. There we go. I'm going to play it safe and just move on to the next platform. There we go. That was a successful Invis-climb. Alright, we have all the clues necessary to solve the mystery, so that's what we're going to be doing here as soon as we load back in. We already know the solutions to all of the mysteries for each world. Granted, this is going to be the only world we actually solved the mystery for, so... There we go. Now we have access to Dragon, which will be the first boss of this run. We'll mark the end for World 1. There we go. Nice. Avoided the ledge grab there. This might be a little bit scary, just because I am at 1 health, and there are enemies I'm going to have to avoid throughout this route. Since, yet again, I do need Mubber to gain access to the Kung Fu suit so I can actually damage the dragon. There we go. We're fine. Now we're going to move over down to this corner. There we go. Have all the health and all the Mubber. Now we're just going to wait for him to come down here, just because Dragon is pretty much just a boss fight to where you just want to manip him in certain spots and hit him at certain timings. So we already know where he's kind of going to go for these first couple of hits. We're going to try to hit a triple here. There we go. Moving to the right spots. You kind of do have to wait for that animation to end, because if you do it too early, it just won't hit him. Sometimes that animation won't play for certain, like, health points that he's at. We're going to try to hit a quad here. Alright, he moved back, so but it's fine. I can make a fly route. Ooh, still hit the quad. If I remember correctly, he shall be moving over here, which is kind of fine, but he's on his final phase here, which he has UV lights. Hit a double, he's going to come back around. We only need to hit him one more time. We're going to exit level, just because that skips the dialogue of him, like, you know, dying, plus the cutscene, plus the results screen. So now we're into World 2. And we're going to be doing a similar thing that we did in World 1, where we're going to be grabbing the costume first, and then the clue. Jump on this trash can to get to this platform, then we're going to jump on some visible ledges here. There you go, now we have the bat suit. We have the haunted house ticket. Turn that into Velma. I'm going to be trying to land on a little part of these planks here, just so I can skip needing to wait for the actual, like, solid part of the ride to come around. This is also the fastest level in the entire game. This level can last around, like, about 50 seconds if done, if all these tricks are done first try, but pretty weird and finicky tricks. Jump over here. Skip this cutscene. We're going to try to get on this little dresser here, or wardrobe. And we're going to just throw ourselves to that chandelier and just kind of hope the game just throws us on. It's definitely timing based on when the chandelier comes around and when you press A. Skip the whole outside portion just by jumping into that part that just doesn't have any collision. And we're at the end of the level. We're already at the end. So we see Shaggy over there with the clue. There we go. Pretty clean haunted house. And we're going to be using the bat suit so we can gain access to the second level. The whole idea is that if you see these air vents, you're able to glide. That's the whole point of the suit. That's all you can really do with the suit is just glide. And so I'm going to be showcasing one of the most broken glitches in this game that's going to be used a whole lot throughout this run, which is box clipping, which we're going to be doing the Caniac combo clip right at the start of this level. So it's going to skip a whole lot. It's going to skip like pretty much half of it. Turn the camera left, and then I'm just going to move in a counterclockwise motion so I can clip out of bounds. Go to this part. And there we go. Ready on to the last water slide. We need to go up. There is a trick I can do here to avoid this water slide, but it's really hard and only saves like 5 seconds. You do another trampoline storage and you can skip all of this. There we go, got a trampoline storage here. We're going to be coming up, since we do need Mubber to gain access to the suit, we need 200, but we're going to be kind of getting Mubber in an unconventional type of means. We're going to be introduced to the strongman. We're going to spin on him and just jump on him, and pretty much this game has a combo system when you're just jumping on enemies, to where you'll gain more Mubber the more times you're bouncing on them, so we're going to just try to keep our chain here. So far, this is going really good. Even though he died early, our combo is already really high. You only need to hit him like 2 more times. This is actually fine. Nice. Do another box clip here. So we can gain access to the machine here. Don't have to go around. There we go. Turn in all the Mubber. I do need to collect a clue here so we can gain access to the next level. There's a way we can gain access to the next level even without collecting this clue, but it's a lot slower. I'm just gonna right up these air vents. There's some minor movement we can do to go up these air vents a little bit faster by rubbing on some part of these fans just to get a little bit of height. But that's gonna be that portion of water park, because we're gonna be editing. We're gonna be going down a big water slide. You know, we're in water park after all. And this is another auto scroller here. One of the more brutal kinds, because this auto scroller is probably the longest. And obviously you can just fall down pretty easily. There's obviously going to be some food / ingredients we're going to be collecting here, but we're going to try to use specific buttons here, because you can actually get rid of the pop with Y, X, B, or A. We're going to be using other buttons that aren't our jump buttons for that first ingredient, just because if you do jump, sometimes you will just double jump into the void and just die and have to restart. Second ingredient, but it's conveniently placed over a jump, so we're fine. Yeah, we're nearing the end. We just got to take this last turn here. Avoid these music notes. That'll be the end of Water Park. Alrighty. Gonna be just holding top left and just mashing A for this next part, because we're making a very tight cycle to go into Circus 10 as fast as we can. There we go. These trapeze thingy mobs. I don't know what they're exactly called. I just know they're used for trapeze, I think. Now we're heading to Circus Tent so we can save Daphne, who's trapped in another cage. Another trend you'll see in this game. We're going to be doing another mubber farming. We do need 200 again. So we're going to do the same thing with these strongmen. Granted, these strongmen are actually stronger because they're wearing blue jeans instead of khakis. Ooh, it's fine. I dropped my combo just because this strongman was being a little bit weird, but... we should definitely be fine. He's going to die in a couple hits, but we should have enough. Nice. Get introduced to the clowns. Obviously, they would be in the circus tent. Really do ignore them. Get on the zipline while evading the guitar ghoul balloons. And we're going to try to do a trampoline storage here so we can skip a lot of platforming here. It's fine if I have to ground pound there. You can make that without needing to ground pound. We're going to make some tight cycles here. Oh, I didn't make it, but it's fine. Just saves a little bit of time, but we'll see if we make this cycle. This cycle is a little bit more important just because you have to jump first. We did not, but it's fine. We're gonna be, this trick's gonna be a little bit weird. It's upcoming. We're gonna gain access to the bat suits real quick. Then we're actually be heading out of bounds and just flying straight towards the end of the level. Since I'll explain how levels kind of are generated and like made. There you go. We clipped out of bounds just by turning really quick. We're gonna try to fix our camera in this corner. Nice. This is also a new trick that was found recently. And so I may just look like I'm like flying into the void here, but first off, this level has one of the lowest void areas, just because you have to drop a really far distance to get hit by the void, so you spawn back up. So this makes it perfect, and that's actually the start of the level that we were at. And a funny part about Circus 10 is that the end of level and the start of level are right next to each other. You're just separated by a huge wall and some obviously some electric water. And so how these levels work is that other parts of the levels, they're like all these levels are connected to each other in like the same world. So if you go out of bounds, you can see other parts of the levels. They're just either higher up or lower. But I'm just gonna drop down on Daphne. Let me make sure I don't overshoot it. All right. Nice, nice, nice. Now we'll be doing another new trick that was found recently. We would normally need to do World 2 Skip, since we didn't collect the clues necessary to solve the mystery here. But we're actually going to do it without the Batsu. We're doing another box clip to get out of bounds here. We'll see if my camera's messed up. If not, I might need to do... there we go. Well, we collected the onion. I didn't want to collect that. That's fine. Get up to this part of the guitar. Move my camera, and then we're going to roll and then cancel the roll at a certain point. There we go. It's going to be a World 2 Skip Costumeless. Now we're moving on to Guitar Ghoul. This boss fight, the only RNG part about this boss fight are the actual speed that the spiders will drop. These spiders will drop in their set locations. It's just more about the fact of when they'll drop. Right now, the spiders are being nice for this first phase. Hopefully, the spider... moving a little bit slow. Oh, that's annoying. There we go. So I'm doing a trick for all these phases here called early mirrors. If you just hit a spider before the next set of mirrors spawn, you'll destroy a good set of mirrors. And the amount that will be destroyed are dependent on the amount of mirrors that you actually left undestroyed in the other phases. So you kind of want to do the bare minimum of mirrors destroyed. This is a really good guitar ghoul. Nice. Right, now we're moving on to World 3. We do have to talk to Velma here first, and she's talking to someone else, just so we can actually turn in this clue to her. After we collect it, gain access to the first exhibit of this museum, which is with dinosaurs. We're going to be doing another box flip straight off the start, which skips half the level, just kind of like Water Park. And we are going to have to do some rubber farming, but it's not as much. Get onto this box here. Did not get clipped. It's a little too far up. Should be fine. There we go. Jump to the left here, and we're done with half the level. Since you're kind of meant to go up this volcano, we only need to farm 100 mubber for this level to gain access to the bat suit. So we don't really need to farm these pterodactyls a lot. One more bounce, we're fine. Ah, I got hit by the plant. It has very huge hitboxes. Any of the jump scare enemies kind of just have huge hitboxes. We'll be doing a lot more spin jumping up here, just because it helps me preserve my momentum on these platforms. We're gonna meet up with Shaggy here, who's totally not gonna get kidnapped by a flyby pterodactyl. Well, he got kidnapped by a flyby pterodactyl. So now we're gonna be going through the second portion, where we're just gonna be gliding using these air vents, so we can make progress throughout this section. Jump on that turtle. Use the air vent. You're kind of not really intended to use that turtle to make it over here. You're meant to use another air vent to get over here, but we use that turtle to make it barely over here. There we go, we're on a good cycle. Try to avoid this ledge grab, nice. I'm gonna go past 2 more air vents before we do a slight skip here. It's not really that huge of a skip, it just skips a cutscene. Collect this clue as it is necessary. I'm going to jump on this part so we can make it to this hole a little bit faster, as this is where the pterodactyls took Shaggy. Doing a new type of auto-scroller to where we're in the bat suit, and we just got to avoid these fire-breathing pterodactyls. Very well-known fact that pterodactyls actually breathe fire back in the day. We're also going to need to avoid these ice pillars. So while this auto-scroller is happening, I forgot to, give y'all a plot summary that's been happening. So for World 1, the big bad who was Zen 2 and controlling the dragon was Maggie Z. And she's actually not real. She was actually mad at Mubber. So, that's a crazy plot point. And then for World 2, the Qatar Ghoul, who's actually a fake Qatar Ghoul, because the real Qatar Ghoul was someone else, but the person impersonating the Qatar Ghoul was Alvin Wiener, who was part of the not-so-good band Deaf Tomatoes. And now we're caught up here. So this is why we're in museum, just because we got a radio transmission to go to the roller coaster part. We got some info to just come over here to this museum. And this is kind of why we set up our save file at the start. So if we do it correctly, the night shield should be up, and we won't need to use the Robin Hood costume to shoot it down. Which we need to grab this costume in an unconventional way by avoiding some invisible ledges here, just because we didn't collect the clue necessary to, this is like the only instance to where it's a 2-clue combo to gain access to a costume. But now we're in the medieval exhibit, as you can see by the night. Yet again, we're going to be doing another box clip at the start of this level to skip a good portion of it. And we do got to be quick just because this knight can destroy it. There we go. Clip straight into the fireplace, which just holds the loading zone to the outside area. We're going to avoid these hooks just because they're a little bit finicky and slow. Try to avoid this ladder here. Cancel the trampoline right there just by grabbing on the ledge. Doing some more spin jumps to keep our momentum. Trampoline storage. So we can skip some more hooks. And we're going to do another trampoline storage to skip another set of hooks after this gas. There we go. Ground pound. Collect this mubber here. We do need 25 to gain access to the Kung Fu suit. I'm going to be careful on these platforms just because if you do spin jump, you sometimes will just fall. Okay, we got unlucky with those mubbers. Depending on how they spawn when you break the boxes, they'll magnetize towards you. I'm gonna do a fight skip here. If I do it correctly, I will just ground. Okay, I didn't clip the first try, but we're just gonna just keep on dive kicking and punching this wall until the game just allows us to clip through. Yeah, there we go. That's the end of Medieval. And on to the final level of World 3, Undersea. This entire level is obviously meant for you to use the Robin Hood costume that you require, but we're doing a route that actually involves us not doing that. It's going to be Robin Hoodless. There is a route we can do with the Robin Hood, but my health is a little bit too high for it. We're gonna wait for this turtle to get to the point, then we're gonna do another ground pound. Now we're gonna do pipe jump. It's a little bit scary, just because the camera is a little bit weird. And we're gonna potentially take damage here, just because that submarine's a little bit too high for us to make. So we have to take damage so it'll spawn lower. I'm not sure exactly why it works like that. Void the cutscene here, just by jumping on these lily pads. And we're gonna patch up this rat hole here, and we're gonna just roll. And then this part of the submarine actually refreshes your roll. Oh, did not make it enough height, so but we'll try it again. There we go. And now we're just gonna enter the auto-scroller here. And another nice part about this auto-scroll is that it automatically spawns us in the Robin Hood costume, which we do need for the final section of this level. But for this auto-scroller, we're just able to just kind of go up top here and just avoid most of these blimps. We are going to have to go back down because there are some avoidable airplanes that will be in our way. There we go. Now we need to go back down. Hopefully you don't grab the broccoli. I don't like my greens. There we go. Now we can just go back up after this airplane. There we go. In this last part, we make it to the octopus that's holding Daphne and Fred captive. Okay, I lost like all my momentum trying to get off that submarine. Shoot the third eye, and when it spawns, jump on it. Then we're gonna jump around invisible walls so we could just make it to the cutscene trigger. Alrighty, now we're gonna be doing World 3 skip since we did not collect the clues necessary to solve the mystery. So we're gonna spawn immediately out of Undersea, which is convenient because we do need to jump on this trash can to get on this lighting here. We're gonna roll up here, and hopefully if I set myself up correctly, I do have the glitch camera, nice. I'm gonna be doing a series of inputs to pretty much deload this door. Nice, clean World 3 skip. Caveman, this boss fight's just all RNG, and we're just playing bumper cars, but there's power-ups. We don't want electro mines, these are bad. We do want the red ones, which are spark shooters, but we just call them lasers. Deep freeze is also good. I won't be spamming them just because Deep Freeze is somehow the most glitchy of all these power-ups. If you spam it too fast, it will just like be gone. It won't even activate. It will just like just be gone. There we go. That last laser might hit. Oh, it did not break his shield. Unlucky. Caveman, you want to get hit? I say 2 lasers. This is a really good Caveman fight so far. Very close to the third phase. Yeah, let me just freeze him here. 1 more hit. After his force field's gone. Third phase. Caveman just gains a laser of his own because he realizes how good it is. Would like another deep freeze. Or spark shoot. That'll be the end of the fight. Very, very good. And Caveman was actually the security guard who used the dinosaurs outside the museum to mine oil. And we pretty much got sent on a wild goose chase as we're back to MFM. Into this is definitely look very different to the tutorial level that we played. There are different routes we can take since you do have access to the Kung Fu suit here, but we're going to be avoiding it. We're going to be doing this just costumeless. Do another box clip here. There we go, so we can go straight to the mubber slide. I'm going to hopefully set up a slide zip here. There we go. You gotta jump on a certain part of a slide and then just turn, and you'll usually just gain a good amount of speed. I'm gonna be going for a hard trick here called Ninja Launch, where I'm gonna be manipulating an enemy to throw a ninja star at a certain timing. See, this looks good, nice. Alright, nice. I got onto that ledge so I can do the faster out-of-bounds strat for Ninja Launch. So we can skip straight to where we need to go to, which is this fight right here. You need to just kill these enemies with the fish behind it, which we did see him earlier in the game, as that's actually Jed, who's trapped in that costume. And he's like, oh no, Stan's the big bad of the game. And then Stan's like, alright, summon the pterodactyl. Which we're fighting the pterodactyl. So for this first phase, we'll be using the Robin Hood costume here. He's also on a good attack pattern. Bait one more flame attack here. Then we're going to be shooting these plungers at certain timings just because if you shoot them at certain times, it will do double the damage just because we think so far it's just the hitboxes overlap. We got a double. Nice, clean. Second part is a auto-scroller to where we just got to avoid the attacks of the pterodactyl, and we'll also be avoiding buildings of this movie set. Just gotta avoid these QTEs. There we go, do another go around of avoiding the flame breath, and he does have another attack, the chomp. If it does hit you, it's an insta kill, and you just go back to the start of this auto scroller, which hopefully we do not want to see. I'm also just explain the end of this game. We actually figure out it's actually not Stanton who's the big bad. Also, Stanton's voiced by Adam West, you know, huge important fact. But it's actually not Stanton, it's actually Marcy, and the reason why she did all this is because she didn't get credit for the invention of Mubber. And that's why all this happened, but you know, it's all good in the end, and everyone makes up. We're in the final part of this fight. Hit that lamp to stun it. Then we're gonna just get over to this costume machine here, just so the rats don't hit us while we're trying to just shoot Kung Fu Blast in a row by doing animation cancels. Time is coming up pretty soon as we see save and time. I would need to retime this run. This might be a world record. It's a very good run. But that will be the end of this submission video. So hope y'all enjoyed it. Goodbye.